Shai, from being on the court with Chet these last few games, Mark was saying that he thinks things have kind of slowed down for him a little bit defensively. Are there things that you think Chet's recognizing now that maybe he might not have been 25 games ago?
I don't know. It feels like Chet blocks everything. It feels like he always has. But yeah, it's his specialty where he hangs his hat every night. He's special again tonight.
I wanted to just see if you noticed anything about the approach that you guys had coming into this game, knowing that they were kind of banged up, and then also kind of really been able to put your foot down in the third quarter, if there was anything about the approach or mentality that you guys had that stood out.
We just wanted to win a basketball game. That's all it was about. That's all it was really about to us. Make sure we get a W.
What else we got, guys?
Nobody?
Shai, I'm curious because it felt like Chet was everywhere in that third quarter. I mean, he's always flying around, but especially in that third quarter, there was some wild sequences. Just where have you seen his processing maybe grow most since the start of the season defensively?
Like I said, honestly, like I feel like he's been like that the whole season. I don't know. I don't know when like defenders are gonna get it, but I don't think it's been different at all. I think he's been a special rim protector from day one. We knew that coming in, and he's just proving it.
Yeah, and I meant to ask you the other night, but after the game winner, you know, your face, there's basically no expression on your face, not only after the shot, but after the buzzer goes off. Just can you kind of explain what was going through your head then, and just maybe the evolution of, you know, your celebrations or lack thereof as you've hit game winners throughout your career?
Yeah, honestly, I just wasn't too excited. I feel like I didn't play the best game and wasn't too excited, to be honest. But after I hit the shot, I knew we had one more possession to win. And I've been in a situation where you hit a shot and the game's not over yet and you lose, so I just didn't want to get too excited.
Shai, they only made 11 two-point shots tonight. That's one of the lowest ever. And I know some of that is they're shooting threes, but Mark talked about your all's philosophy of trying to contest inside and then make teams shoot jump shots. Just wonder what you thought about the total team defensive effort tonight.
Yeah, we were good. We just try to make teams play outside of their comfort zone and into our strengths defensively. And it worked. It worked pretty well tonight. We did a good job of it.
Shai, last year I asked you about averaging 30 and just kind of the approach to the game, that, you know, it's a big deal in all other aspects of basketball where you get 30 once, it's a big deal. You're doing it night in, night out. Is it a different approach this year when it's kind of like expected of you?
No, not at all. I just play basketball. The ball goes up and I run around.
All right, Dan, give me the last one.
Yeah. Whose football jersey is that?
Randy Moss. Thanks, guys.
Nick Gallo, OKC Thunder. Chet, Mark was just saying, you know, the game's clearly slowed down for you even from the start of the season defensively. Are there certain things that you're seeing, certain actions that you are anticipating at a higher level now than maybe you were at the start of the year?
Yes and no. Obviously, I've gotten a lot more reps as the season's gone on. We've played 20-something games now. But I'm also doing different things on defense. Initially, it was basically pick and roll coverage 100 times a game. Now it's that mixed in with playing the shell, mixed in with just flying around on transition possessions and just matching to whoever's closest, especially against teams that are playing small or with shooters or whatever. So it's different, but, you know, I'm learning from every experience, and it's been good.
Conventionally, you know, people might think that cutting is done primarily by guards, but you know, you're cutting from up top and getting a dunk. Ooze cutting in from the wing. What can you just tell me about that dynamic with this team that, you know, all five guys on the floor can cut from any spot?
Yeah, you know, it's really tough to guard when everybody on the floor can play out of every kind of situation, and no matter who ends up on the backside of that shell, you know, we have a pretty good understanding, and we've practiced a lot on how to play on the backside of the shell, and cutting's just one of those things, and you know, it's been good for us as a team, not just myself and Ooze like you mentioned, but for everybody.
Chet, you talked about at the beginning of the year just so many pick and roll, so much pick and roll coverage. But Mark said even that, there's some angle stuff you figured out, not being too open, that kind of stuff. Have you learned little nuances even of pick and roll since you've been getting more reps?
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of it's personnel-wise, just understanding what certain guys are trying to do and taking that away by playing them differently. So no two coverages are going to be the same with different players in it. So just understanding that, watching film, and getting a good read on guys, and trying to take away what they want to do most.
And is there such a thing, like Josh has said before, that as a passer, you can kind of feel like you're in a zone as a passer? Do you feel that way about blocking shots? Like, do you feel more locked in certain times than others?
No, I'd say mostly being in the right place at the right time mostly comes down to just playing hard. When I'm playing my hardest, I guess it kind of naturally happens. So I got to be able to do that as much as I possibly can.
Chet, offensively, you see a lot of guys use the glass just to try to create different angles. You use the glass a lot on defense, on a lot of these blocks. How much of it is it just angles when you're just attacking it, and other times because you have a lot of your shot blocks land in the restricted area? Are you trying to do that? I don't know. Is that something on your mind as you're going for these blocks, or is it just kind of happening?
Yeah, a lot of it just happens naturally, and a lot of it's situational. Sometimes you can't control it, but for the most part, it happens naturally. I'm just trying to keep them from scoring. What happens next is kind of secondhand importance. But yeah, it kind of just happens naturally.
Anybody else? Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, Coach, is this working? Hey, wondering about...
Can you turn that on?
I'm sorry?
Can you turn the mic on? I'm just kidding.
Wondering about Chet and the fact that it looks like maybe he's broken through a mental barrier, the old Roger Bannister deal where he broke the 4-minute mile and then all of a sudden everybody else did it. Chet came through with 8 the other night, and it seemed like he got it quickly tonight. It was 7. Do you think that he is on a path to do those things consistently?
I mean, 8 and 7 is hard to do consistently, but he's definitely, the game's slowing down for him. He's talk all the time about growing through experiences, and he's a classic example of a guy that good, bad, up, down experiences, he grows, and he continues to improve through all that stuff. And so it's not going to be surprising as things start to slow down for him. Obviously, the shot blocking the last couple games has been loud, but things are slowing down for him in all facets of the game.
Nick Gallo, OKC Thunder. Mark, I just want to ask you about the approach tonight, and then especially the approach coming out of the locker room into the third quarter. If there's anything that stood out to you about the way that your guys handled that.
Yeah, I thought a good start to the third. Good job weathering the early part of the game. They made some shots early, some tough shots early as well. I thought we had good poise and maturity to build that lead. I thought we could have played a little better once we had the lead, but I thought the sharpness and the identity on both ends of the floor was there for much of the game. It's the reason why we won.
Mark, I know they shot a ton of threes, but they made 11 two-pointers. Just what stood out to you about the rim defense and just the way that whole thing unfolded?
I think we're doing a good job of providing help. Everybody obviously doing a good job of contesting around the rim, forcing teams to shoot jump shots. We have to contest them better than I thought we did tonight. I thought, as we unpack this and we look at our process, I think we're going to find that they missed some open shots, but at the end of the day, we're forcing teams to shoot jump shots, which is what we want to do. It allows us to have a more predictable floor game on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah,
and going back to Chet, he joined, I believe, Tim Duncan and Wemby as the only rookies to have 7 or more blocks against the Grizzlies. Obviously, that third quarter sequence was pretty special. I know you like to maybe temper expectations, but does it feel like you have a historically special rookie in your hands?
I'm going to temper expectations on that one. We're just playing the game in front of us. He needs to, it's early in his career. We have more than 60% of our season left. The worst thing that he can do, we can do, is stop improving and stop looking, at our process in a clear-eyed manner. And if if he's a great player, that's only going to help him be a great player. And so it's more important to just ground into ways to improve and ways to grow, and that's what he needs to be focused on. That's what we all need to be focused on.
Mark, those 11 two-point shots, they're only the 10th team in the history of the league to make 11 or fewer in a game. They took a lot of threes, so that accounts for that. But does that say anything to you, that number?
Yeah, like I said, we're okay with giving up a volume of threes as long as they're contested, because it means that we're forcing teams to plan B. Everybody wants to attack the rim. Everybody wants to go to the line. Everybody wants to shoot layups. And if we're forcing teams to shoot jump shots, that's a good thing. We need to be great at then contesting them. We've been very good at that for much of the year. I thought actually tonight we left something to be desired. We could have gotten burned more if they shot it better. But generally getting them to shoot it's a good thing.
And then you mentioned the shot blocking being loud the last couple of games for Chet. Are there quiet things defensively that you're seeing from him that you weren't seeing from him 10 games ago, 20 games ago?
Yeah, I think he's learning, in pick and roll coverage when he's in the actual action, learning what depth to play at, when to provide help on the ball handler, when the guard has a chance to get back. His technique in terms of angles has really improved. He was really opened in his stance early in the season and allowing straight lines to the basket or giving himself a hard time to recover back to a roller or a pop guy. That's one example of things. We're moving him around the floor a little more. We're having him take different matchups for different reasons on different nights. That's a layer that he's certainly capable of that we didn't do early because we were really trying to get him dialed into the pick and roll part. So, he's got a long way to go in terms of, becoming the best player that he can become. Obviously, he's already impactful, though.
Mark, when people describe Chet's shot blocking ability, they usually go to physical things like his length, wingspan, height. But I just wanted to ask you, what stands out about just his mental aspect of the game, basketball IQ? I know you mentioned with Brett's question that he's growing the pick and roll game.
In the shot blocking?
Yes.
Yeah, I think, you can ask him. He's a craftsman with that. The one thing that stands out for me is the fearlessness of him attacking those plays. It's a vulnerable position when you're going up and contesting shots at the rim, especially at his frame. And he's always got his nose in the fight there. He'll get dunked on 5 times in a game if it means contesting 5 rim shots. And I think that's the mental thing that I respect most about him as a competitor. Forget about the shot blocking. Is he's willing to fail. He's willing to be embarrassed in pursuit of the right thing for the team on that play. And I have a lot of respect for him for that reason.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep. Thank you, guys.